先开始吧，然后我们看网络的情况好吗？
Om Jnana-timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurmilitan Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Bhauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We are recounting the 6th canto Srimad Bhagavatam. We're on chapter number 5 where Daksha is going to curse Nārada Muni.
我们现在学的是圣典博伽瓦坛第6篇的第5章，这一章就是Dakṣa Prajāpati Dakṣa 准备诅咒 Nārada Muni。
So we heard how Daksha had offered the Hamsaguya prayers and pleased the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the Lord benedicted him that he would have many children.
Dakṣa 他做了 Hamsaguya 的这个祷文献给至尊主之后，至尊主对此很满意，于是至尊主也给了他一个祝福，他能够得到很多的孩子，繁衍人口。
So the Lord arranged a wife, and he told him, this woman that will be able to conceive many children for you.
然后主也给他配了一个妻子，说你可以借助这个女人得到很多的孩子。
So it happened that Daksha's wife conceived 10,000 sons.
他通过这个女人得到了10000个孩子，10000个儿子。
So these 10,000 sons, they're called the Haryashvas. And when they grew up, then Daksha sent them to prepare for married life. He asked them to first go and do austerities. And when they came back, he was going to arrange for their marriage, and then they would be able to have children, to produce children.
这10000个儿子被称为 Haryashva， 他们在 Daksha 训练 ，Daksha 命令他们先去从事一些苦行，等从事了一些苦行之后，他们就可以回来。Daksha 于是给他安排婚姻，这个时候他们就可以再一次繁衍人口了。
Daksha is a Prajāpati, and his job is to see that the universe is filled up with population.
Daksha 他是 Prajāpati。 他的工作就是让整个宇宙充满着人口。
So he was happy to think that 10,000 sons will get married, and then they'll each have many sons, and in this way he'll fill up the universe.
他非常开心的，这10000个儿子将来也可以结婚，结婚之后再有儿子，然后整个宇宙就充满着人口。
But Nārada Muni saw these boys. He saw the Haryashvas go. They went to a holy place. And in the holy place they were meditating, and Nārada Muni was very impressed with their spiritual practice.
这个时候 Nārada Muni 去这个圣地看到了这10000个儿子，他对这10000个儿子从事的这些苦行感到印象非常的深刻。
So Nārada Muni, he thought these boys, they don't need to get married, they don't need to enter family life.
Nārada Muni 认为这些儿子们觉得他们不必要结婚，也不必要进入到婚姻生活之中。
So Nārada Muni preached to them, and he convinced them that there was no need for them to go back to their father.
所以 Nārada Muni 说服他，向他们传教，并说服了他们不必要再回到自己的父亲那里去了。
And they accepted Nārada Muni as their spiritual master, and they followed the path of Nārada Muni.
于是他们也接受了Nārada Muni为他们的灵性导师，追随了Nārada Muni的步伐。
And they were able to, they never went back to the material world.
他们再也没有再重返到这个物质世界了。
So we're continuing to describe here from the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's described that there are 7 musical notes used in musical instruments.
我们继续这里学到，就是有7个音符，在乐器中有7个音符。
Sa re ga ma pa da ne, sa re ga ma pa da ne. These are the musical notes used in the musical instruments, and it comes from the Samaveda.
Sa re ga ma pa da ni， 这7个音符是乐器中的7个音符，它们是来自于 Samaveda。
So Nārada Muni, he's always vibrating the pastimes of Krishna.
Nārada Muni 总是发出主 Krishna 的逍遥时光的这种音震。
Nārada Muni is always vibrating things like the Mahamantra.
Nārada Muni 也同时发出 Mahamantoro 的音震。
And by vibrating the Mahamantra, he can fix his mind on the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord.
通过唱诵这个 Mahamantra， 他能够把自己的心意专注于主的莲花座。
So after Nārada Muni had delivered the Haryashvas, then Nārada Muni continued to travel throughout the planetary systems, the material world.
在Nārada Muni拯救了这些哈亚什巴之后，他继续在整个宇宙旅行。
His mind is always fixed at the lotus feet of the Lord.
他的心意总是恒常专注于主的莲花座。
So he's always chanting about the pastimes of the Lord wherever he goes.
他总是唱诵着主的逍遥时光。每当他去到任何一个地方，他总是唱诵着主的逍遥时光。
And wherever he goes, he takes with him an instrument called a veena, and he's always playing the veena and chanting the holy name.
无论他去到什么地方，他总是弹奏着他的维那琴，然后唱诵着圣名。
Sometimes he'll chant Radhika Ramana, Radhika Ramana Ramane, Radhika Ramana Name, Radhika Ramana Name. It's another name for Lord Krishna.
他唱诵的 Radhika Ramana Name， 这个 Radhika Ramana 是主 Krishna 的另外一个名字。
And whenever he plays the veena, then all the devotees begin responding, and they also begin to chant.
当他一拨动这个维那琴，一唱诵这个主的名字的时候，所有的奉献者也开始回应，也开始唱诵。
And so all the devotees begin to dance in ecstasy.
还有所有的奉献者也都开始极乐的翩翩起舞。
And when they're dancing, it's like they're intoxicated. They're so ecstatic.
当他们起舞的时候，他们是如此的沉静，如此的狂喜。
Just like there's a nectar drink called Madhuri Pura, and when you drink that nectar, then you also become intoxicated.
就像有一种汁液叫 Madhuri Pura， 当你喝这个 Madhuri Pura 的时候，你就会陷入到这种狂喜之中。
So when the devotees are chanting, some of them cry, some are dancing, and some they're not able to dance, but they dance in their heart.
有一些人哭泣着，有一些人唱诵跳舞着，有一些人他如果即便他不能跳舞，他也却在心中跳着舞。
And then Lord Shiva comes and he embraces Nārada Muni, and they begin to dance together.
当主西瓦这个时候主西瓦也来了，他和Nārada Muni一起跳舞，拥抱着Nārada Muni。
And then Lord Brahma also comes and he also starts dancing, and he's telling everybody chant Hari Bo, Hari Bo.
主 Brahma 这个时候也来了，他也来参加起来，一起来跳舞。他告诉所有人，请一起 Haribo Haribo。
And then Indra, the king of heaven, he also comes and he also joins and he's also chanting Haribo, Haribo.
这个时候，天堂国王的 Indra 也来了，他也加入到这个唱诵和跳舞之中，他也说 Haribo Haribo。
So by the power of the holy name, everybody in the universe becomes ecstatic.
通过圣名的力量和影响，整个宇宙都变得狂喜快乐。
So when the whole universe is all ecstatic, then we pray unto the lotus feet of Rupa Goswami. The chanting of the holy name will go on forever.
当整个宇宙都开始变得狂喜的时候，我们向 Rupa Goswami 祈祷，愿这样美好的唱诵继续下去。
So Lord Brahma, he's the guru of Nārada Muni.
主 Brahma 是 Nārada Muni 的灵性导师。
And Nārada Muni, he's the guru of Vyasadeva.
Nārada Muni 又是 Vyasadeva 的灵性导师。
And Vyasadeva, he's the guru of Madhvacharya.
Vyasadeva 又是 Madhvacharya 的灵性导师。
And the Gaudiya Sampradaya is also coming from Nārada Muni.
我们这个高迪亚桑帕达亚师徒传信也是来自于 Nārada Muni。
So all the devotees in the Krishna consciousness movement, we also follow in the footsteps of Nārada Muni.
因此 ，Krishna 知觉的所有的奉献者成员们都应该追随 Nārada Muni 的步伐。
And we chant also the holy names. We chant the Maha Mantra Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
我们唱诵的圣名，我们也唱诵着这个 Hare Krishna 的 Maha Mantra。
And devotees go everywhere to deliver the fallen souls by chanting the holy name.
奉献者去到任何一个地方，通过唱诵圣名来拯救这些灵魂。
And we also teach the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita.
而且我们还教导他们有关《薄伽梵歌》、圣典《薄伽瓦坛》以及《Chaitanya Charitamrita》的教导。
So this is how we please the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
我们通过这些方式来取悦至尊人格守神。
So we can make advancement in spiritual life if we follow the instructions of Nārada Muni.
如果我们能够追随 Nārada Muni 的训谕的话，我们就能够取得灵性的进步。
If we can please Nārada Muni, then the Supreme Personality of Godhead will also be pleased.
如果 Nārada Muni 能够被我们取悦的话，那么至尊人格守神本人也能够被取悦。
Right? Our spiritual teacher, our guru, is the representative of Nārada Muni. There's no difference between him and Nārada Muni.
我们的灵性导师应该也是 Nārada Muni 的代表，他们和 Nārada Muni 之间是没有区别的。
And both Nārada Muni and the spiritual teachers today, the spiritual teachers, are speaking the same things. They're speaking the teachings of Krishna.
我们的灵性导师和 Nārada Muni 他们的教导应该是没有区别的，他们都是讲的 Krishna 的教导。
Just like in the final chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says to engage our mind in thinking of him, become his devotee, to worship him, and offer respects to him.
就像主 Krishna 在《薄伽梵歌》的最后所说的，恒常想着我，成为我的奉献者，崇拜我，顺从我。
And Krishna says, this way you will come to me without fail.
就这样，你能够到达我，而且你不必害怕。
Krishna says, I promise you this because you're my very dear friend.
我向你承诺这一点，因为你是我最亲密的朋友。
And then Krishna goes on and says, give up all varieties of religion and just surrender to me.
Krishna 继续说道：“放弃一切种类的宗教，只是向我臣服。
I will free you from all sinful reactions. Don't fear.
我将把你从所有的罪恶反应之中解救出来，不要害怕。”
So the Haryashvas, these sons of Prajāpati Dakṣa, were very well behaved, very cultured.
哈尔亚什瓦这 Prajāpati 的10000个儿子们，他们的举止都非常的得体，非常有文化。
But because of the instruction of Nārada Muni, they didn't follow the instruction of their father.
由于 Nārada Muni 的教导，他们并没有追随他们原本的 Dakṣa 这个父亲的教导。
So Nārada Muni, he went to Dakṣa and he told Dakṣa that, you know, your sons are not coming back.
Nārada Muni 去到 Dakṣa 那里说，你的儿子们不会再回来。
So Dakṣa was very sorry. He lamented because he knew they were very good sons and he lost all of them.
Dakṣa 听到这个消息之后，他变得悲伤起来，因为他彻底的失去了这些孩子们。
So Dakṣa was very sorry, very sad.
所以 Dakṣa 非常非常的悲伤。
And so because of their good qualities, the Haryashvas they went to perform austerity. And see, initially they were following the order of their father, Dakṣa. He told them to go and do austerity.
由于哈尔亚什瓦他们举止得体，所以他们立即就追随了他们父亲的命令去从事苦行。
Because Dakṣa was thinking if they do austerity first, then when they get married, then they'll get good sons for their family.
因为 Dakṣa 认为，当他的儿子们去从事了苦行，再回来结婚之后，他们一定能够繁衍出很优秀的后代。
But Nārada Muni took advantage of them, and he saw their good qualities, and he thought to save them from material life.
但是 Nārada Muni 从中利用了这一点，他觉得他们有很好的品质，然后让他们不要再返回这个物质世界。
And he thought better to use their good qualities to get out of the material world.
Nārada Muni 告诉他们，最好利用你们的这个好的优秀品质，不要再返回到这个物质世界，离开这个物质世界。
So the Haryashvas, they followed Nārada Muni's instructions.
所以哈尔亚什瓦们他们遵循了 Nārada Muni 的命令。
And when Prajāpati Dakṣa found out about this, then he was not happy. He was very sorry.
当 Prajāpati Dakṣa 听到这个消息的时候，他非常非常的悲伤。
So Prabhupada says, he said, in the same way, we are also trying to bring young men to Krishna consciousness.
圣帕帕德在这里也解释到，我们的 Krishna 知觉运动也经常会让很多的年轻的男孩子加入到这个 Krishna 知觉运动中来。
And he said, certainly if they become Krishna conscious, this is for their good, this is for their benefit.
如果这些年轻的男孩子能加入到 Krishna 知觉，这是对他们非常有意义的，非常好的。
But the parents of the young men who become devotees, they become very sorry.
但是这些加入到 Krishna 知觉这些男孩子们，他们的父母，他们并不会开心，他们反而会悲伤难过。
And they try to stop their children becoming devotees.
他们甚至阻止他们的孩子成为奉献者。
Now Prajāpati Dakṣa, he didn't try to stop his sons going with Nārada Muni.
Prajāpati Dakṣa 他没有公然的反对 Nārada Muni.
But later you'll see Dakṣa curses Nārada Muni.
但是在后来我们看到 Dakṣa 他诅咒了 Nārada Muni.
So in the material world, it's like that. Material mother and father, they always want their sons to be involved in material life.
物质的父母，他们总是这样，他们总是希望他们的孩子摄入到物质的生活方式之中。
They always want them to get married and have children.
他总是希望他的孩子能够结婚，能够有孩子。
And they want them to make a lot of money.
他希望他们的孩子能够赚很多的钱。
And they want to see them rotting in the material life.
他希望他们能够沉浸在这个物质生活之中。
And when the children become spoiled and when they become useless, their parents, they don't lament.
甚至他们的孩子在受到溺爱成为一种无用的人的时候，他们也不会不开心不快乐。
They think, oh, no problem, they're just like everybody else.
没有关系，你跟其他人也一样。
But when they join Krishna consciousness movement to become Krishna conscious, then their parents feel very sorry. Oh.
但是当他们的孩子一旦加入了 Krishna 知觉运动时，他们就悲伤了。
So Prabhupada said this has been the mood between parents and Krishna consciousness. This conflict has been there since the beginning of time.
圣帕巴的解释到，自亘古以来，物质的这种父母和 Krishna 知觉运动之间就存在着这种敌意。
Even Nārada Muni had this problem so many thousands of years ago.
即便在几千年之前 ，Nārada Muni 也遇到这样的问题。
But it didn't stop Nārada Muni. He didn't give up. He kept preaching to people.
但是这并没有阻止 Nārada Muni。Nārada Muni 总是恒常着在向别人传教。
And he continues to travel everywhere and to praise Vina and chant the holy names.
他一直保持着旅行，然后弹奏着维也纳琴，唱诵着圣名。
Just this morning, we were teaching the Bhagavad Gita, Bhakti Shastri to some devotees. So we were discussing about some of the difficulties which are there in being a devotee.
就像今天早上我在给一些人讲这个 Bhakti Shastri 奉爱经典课程的时候，有一些奉献者谈到他们成为奉献者的阻碍，一些困难。
And so one of the devotees was saying, their family, they always they think, we want to go out to the restaurant, we can go to vegetarian restaurant, or they want to go to cinema, they want to go and see a movie.
这个其中有一个奉献者就提到，他的父母总是希望他能够去到餐厅，去到电影院，去能够看电影等等这些事情。
And they'll tell the mother's a devotee and she's trying to practice Krishna consciousness, and they say, let's just be like other families. So let's just go out and go to a restaurant and go to cinema. Let's just be like a normal family.
他们这个家庭之中的这个母亲是个奉献者，但是呢，他们家人就说，让我们成为一个普通的家庭吧，就让我们去餐馆吃吃饭，让我们去电影院看看电影。
And so people think they think the normal family has to do everything like that. They go to cinemas, they go to restaurants, and they do all kinds of sinful activities, and they think this is normal.
人们很多人都是这样想的，他认为我们就做一些普通家庭该做的事情，比如说看看电影、去餐馆吃吃饭。但是实际上这些都是比较罪恶的事情，但是他们认为这些罪恶的事情是正常的。
But you try to be a devotee, they think, oh, so strange, oh, you're so weird, you're so different from everybody else.
你想成为一个奉献者啊，那太奇怪了，太古怪了，你跟周围其他人都不一样。
So it's so difficult sometimes to be devotees with people when if you have to mix with people who are not devotees.
所以当你不得不和一些人混合在一起的时候，要成为一个奉献者真的是蛮困难。
So Prajāpati Dakṣa was lamenting, he was feeling so sorry about his 10,000 sons that they'd all gone off without him.
Prajāpati Dakṣa 为失去他的10000个儿子都感觉到非常的悲伤。
So then Lord Brahma came and Lord Brahma spoke nice words and encouraged him.
所以主 Brahma 来了，他说了一些非常好的话，让 Prajāpati Dakṣa 平静下来。
So then Daksha had some more children. At this time he conceived 1,000 children in the womb of his wife.
所以 Dakṣa 又开始繁衍后代。这一次他通过他妻子的子宫得到了1000个儿子，1000个孩子。
Yeah, they're all boys. Yes, they're called the Savalashvas. Savalashvas. These 1,000.
这些1000个孩子都是儿子，他们被称为 Savalashva。
So Daksha, he got the name, Daksha means expert. So he was very expert in conceiving children.
Daksha 的意思是老练，非常熟练的，他非常善于繁衍孩子。
So his first 10,000 sons, the Haryashvas, they all went back home, back to Godhead.
他之前的10000个儿子全部都回归守神了。
So his next set of sons, the 1,000 sons, they're called the Shavalashvas.
他另外一批孩子，这第二批孩子，这1000个儿子被称为 Savalashva。
So Daksha he's expert in begetting children, and Nārada Muni, he's also expert in delivering the conditioned souls back to Godhead.
Daksha 非常善于繁衍孩子、繁衍后代，而 Nārada Muni 又非常善于拯救这些受条件限制的灵魂。
So the materialistic experts like Daksha, they do not agree with the spiritual experts like Nārada Muni.
所以物质主义的专家，他并不赞同于灵性的这些专家，像 Nārada Muni 这样的灵性专家。
But this does not mean that Nārada Muni is going to give up his engagement. He's still going to continue to do his job.
但这并不意味着要让 Nārada Muni 去放弃他的活动，他一直保持着他的活动。
So the sons, the second group of sons, they got instructions from their father, and their father told them that they should go and do some austerity first of all, and then when they come back, he'd get them married and they can beget children.
这第二批孩子也得到了 Daksha 的命令，他们也是前往去到一个地方，在那里从事一些苦行。当他们从事完苦行回来之后 ，Daksha 会给他们安排婚姻。
So they went to the same place where the first group where their older brothers had gone. That same holy place called Narayana Saras.
他们去到的与先前他们第一批孩子所去的是同样一个地方，这个地方是 Narayana Sara。
So the 1,000 sons, the Savalasvas, they all went there, and they were sitting there on the bank of the lake there, and they were meditating, and they were very good. They were very well behaved.
这1000个儿子Shavalashvas 他们也去到这同样一个地方，在那里从事着苦行，他们的行为举止也非常非常的好。
So it's interesting to see Daksha, he didn't hesitate to send his sons to the same place.
在这里很有趣的一点是 Prajāpati Dakṣa 他并没有犹豫把他的孩子派到同一个地方，他并没有感到很犹豫。
He didn't think, oh, they might also get taken in by Nārada Muni instruction. He didn't think like that.
他开始的时候并没有那么去想说 Nārada Muni 就要把我的儿子可能就我的儿子如果去到那里的话就被说服成为了奉献人，他并没有那么去想。
No, he just thought that they have to get training and they have to go there. They have to do their austerity first before they can become grihastas.
他首先想到的就是他的儿子们应该去到那儿，应该得到训练，在成为居士生活之前，他们应该在那里接受训练。
So they should get spiritual first they should be good brahmacharis, trained as good brahmacharis, and then they will be good for householder life, and they can have nice children.
在他们进入到居士生活之前，他们应该 训练成为好的真守身，这样他们才能够得到好品质的孩子们。
So this is the Vedic culture like this. At first you do brahmachari life and get good training and control the senses, and then you're qualified to be a good householder.
这就是伟大的文化。你首先在真守身阶段得到好的训练，然后能够进入到居士阶段，成为一个好的居士。
So Dakṣa sent them to go ahead, go and do your austerities first.
所以 Dakṣa 把他们的儿子们派到那个地方，你们去做一些苦行，首先做一些苦行。
So he didn't think that maybe these second sons, they'll also be like the first sons, they may also become intelligent like their older brothers and they may not come home. Dakṣa didn't think like that.
Dakṣa 并没有这么想，他们的这个第二批孩子会像他们的第一批孩子那样获得好的这个智性之后就不会再回来，他并没有那么去想。
No, he depended on them to choose for themselves that they will return home, whether they should return home back to Godhead or whether they should stay in the material world. He knew it's their choice.
Dakṣa 知道这一切都在于都依靠的是他的儿子们的自己的这个决定和抉择。无论是他们做出回归守身、回归家园的这个选择，还是继续留在这个物质世界的这个选择，这是他们自己的决定。
So it's the duty of the father to give a good education to his sons.
父亲的职责是给予儿子一个好的教育。
And then the son can decide for himself what he's going to do.
然后孩子们自己做决定，我到底应该做什么。
So if somebody's a good father, they won't stop their son from if they make spiritual advancement, if they come to Krishna consciousness.
因此，有责任感的父亲不应该阻止他的孩子们在 Krishna 知觉之中取得进步。
No, the duty of the father is to give the son freedom to make his own choice.
父亲的职责是给予孩子自主选择的这个权利。
But of course, the son has to also, he first has to get training, and he has to make some advancement, he has to take instructions from the spiritual teacher.
当然，在这个孩子做决定之前，他应该得到灵性导师的一些训练，然后得到他的一些训语，取得灵性进步之后。
Right? So the son should be given the opportunity to make spiritual advancement.
因此，孩子应该得到一些机会，能够在灵性的道路上取得一些进步。
And if they feel they're making spiritual advancement, then they'll want to continue that.
如果他们能够感觉到在灵性上取得进步的话，他们就会继续在这条路上前进。
Of course, not all sons will want to make spiritual advancement.
当然，不是所有的儿子们都会在灵性的道路上取得进步。
So sons who they don't want spiritual advancement, they can go back, get married, and go in family life.
如果有一些孩子他并没有在灵性上取得进步，他可以自主选择，他可以回到物质生活之中，他可以娶妻生子。
So the second group of the sons, they did their austerities just like the first group of sons.
第二批孩子跟第一批孩子他们一样，在那里做了一些苦行。
They bathed in the holy water, and just simply by the touch of that water, all their material desires in their hearts were taken away.
他们在圣河之中沐浴，通过触碰河里面的圣水，他们内心中的所有的物质欲望都被清除。
And they chanted mantras beginning with Om, and they did a lot of austerity.
他们唱诵着以 Om 为开始的一些曼陀罗，从事着很多的苦行。
Like every mantra will begin with the Omkara.
很多 mantra， 所有的 mantra 都是以 Omkara 为开始的。
Just like we have Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, begins with Om.
就像我们有一个 mantra 叫 Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya， 这个是以 Om 为开始。
So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also says, I am the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras.
就像主 Krishna 在佛家梵歌中说，我是韦达经中的 Om。
So chanting of the Vedic mantras beginning with Om is the same as chanting Krishna's name.
所以唱诵韦达经中以 Om 为开始的这些曼陀罗也相当于在唱诵主 Krishna 的名字。
If we chant Om or if we address the Lord as Krishna, it's the same.
如果我们唱诵 Om， 如果我们唱诵 Hare Krishna， 这两者其实是一样的。
But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said better to chant Hare Krishna mantra.
但是主 Chaitanya Mahaprabhu 告诉我们，最好还是唱 Hare Krishna Mahamantra。
Even though there's no difference between the two, still it's better to chant Hare Krishna.
即便他们二者之间是没有区别的，但是最好还是唱诵 Hare Krishna Mantra。
Because sometimes people chant Om, they forget that Krishna's a person.
因为有一些人他唱诵着 Om， 然后就开始忘了 Krishna 他是一个人。
And they think the Supreme God is just simply Om, just simply sound.
他们认为主 Krishna 他实际上只是这个 Om， 只是这一种声音。
But we should understand Om is the sound representation of Krishna.
但是我们应该知道 Om 实际上只是 Krishna 的一个代表。
So the 1,000 sons of Dakṣa, they were all there at the holy place, and they were drinking only water, and the only thing they ate was air.
这1000个 Dakṣa 的儿子，他们在圣地只喝着水，呼吸着空气。
And they were there for several months, for a few months.
他们在那里从事着几个月的苦行。
And when they were doing that, at the same time they were reciting the mantra.
当他们做着这些事情的时候，他们同时也在念诵着曼陀罗。
And they were offering their obeisances to Narayan, the personality of Godhead.
他们向至尊人格守神 Narayana 致以顶拜。
That he is the supreme, he's in his supreme abode, and he is the supreme person.
他永恒的处在他至尊的居所，他是至尊者。
And they just prayed to offer their obeisances unto him.
让我们向他致以前进的顶拜。
So Srila Prabhupada explains to us that the chanting of the Mahamantra or the Vedic mantra has to be also done along with some austerity.
圣帕帕德在这里提到，唱诵着伟大的曼陀罗或者 Mahamantra， 必须伴随着一些苦行。
But in Kali Yuga, people cannot do austerity like what's described here, just drinking only water and eating only air for months.
但是在卡利年代，人们无法能够做到像这里提及到的苦行，比如说几个月只喝水，只呼吸空气。
We cannot imitate that.
我们不能这么模仿，这么去做。
But we can do some austerity, just like following the 4 principles, giving up illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication and gambling.
但是我们至少可以从事某一些苦行，比如说遵守4项基本原则，不务非法性生活，不吃鱼肉蛋，不吸食麻醉品，不赌。
And if we do this tapasya, then along with chanting Hare Krishna, then we'll get a lot of spiritual benefit.
如果我们从事这个苦行，然后再唱诵着 Hare Krishna Mahamantra， 这样的话，我们会得到很多很多的益处。
But we shouldn't give up austerity.
我们不应该放弃苦行这一程序。
And Prabhupada said, if possible, we should bathe in the Ganga or the Yamuna.
圣帕帕德说，如果可能的话，我们应该在红河或雅穆纳河去沐浴。
And if you're not near the Ganga or the Yamuna, then you can bathe in the sea.
如果我们这里没有恒河或雅穆纳河的话，我们可以去海里沐浴，大海里去沐浴。
This is an austerity.
这也是一种苦行。
So that's why in Krishna consciousness we have our temples in Vrindavan and in Mayapur.
这就是为什么我们的 Krishna 知觉有两个很大的中心庙宇，一个在 Vrindavan， 一个在 Mayapur。
Yeah, that's so that we can bathe in the Ganga or the Yamuna, and we can chant Hare Krishna, and then this way become perfect and go back to Godhead.
这样我们就可以在恒河或雅穆纳河中沐浴，然后唱诵 Hare Krishna， 以此获得完美，回归家园，回归首身。
So Nārada Muni came to speak to these sons of Dakṣa.
Nārada Muni 开始接近 Dakṣa 的这些儿子们。
He knew they were doing austerities so that in the future they could beget children.
他知道这些孩子要做一些苦行，是为了将来繁衍后代。
So Nārada Muni came to speak to them just like he'd spoken to their elder brothers.
Nārada Muni 开始就对他们说话，就像 Nārada Muni 之前对他们的那些兄长说话一样。
So Nārada Muni said to them, he said, "You're all very affectionate. You like very much your older brothers, the Haryasvas. So you should follow their path."
Nārada Muni 说：“你们都非常钟爱你们的兄长哈尔亚什们，因此你们应该追随他们的步伐。”
So Nārada Muni began speaking to them. First of all, he encouraged them to remember their older brothers, because naturally they'll respect their older brothers.
Nārada Muni 开始说话的时候，是以激励他们去回忆他们的这些兄长，因为很自然的，这些人他们都会尊敬他们的兄长。
So Nārada Muni understood the nature of the family affection, that younger brother's affectionate to the older brother.
Nārada Muni 也知道，在家庭关系之中，兄长会影响着这些弟弟们。
So Nārada Muni was reminding the younger brothers about their older brothers, that they should do like their older brothers.
所以 Nārada Muni 向这些1000个儿子们提起他们的兄长，让他们追随他们的这些兄长。
So, there's a word, nigama, and there's a special word here which Nārada Muni used. There's a word nigama, which is referring to the Vedas.
这里有个词叫 nigama， 这个 nigama 所指的是韦达经中所包含的训语。
But in this case, the word nigama refers to the instructions which are in the Vedas.
这个 nigama 实际上指的是韦达经中所包含的训语。通常 nigama 指的是韦达经，这里的 nigama 指的是韦达经中的训语。
In the second verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the second verse it says nigama kalpataror galitam palam. It says nigama, that word nigama. So nigama kalpa, the instructions of the Vedas are like a tree. And the Srimad Bhagavatam is the fruit of the tree.
圣典博迦瓦坛的第2个世节中说到，韦达经的训语恰似一棵树，而圣典博迦瓦坛便是这棵树上成熟的果实。
So Nārada Muni, he's distributing the fruit, this fruit of Srimad Bhagavatam.
Nārada Muni 就在派发圣典博迦瓦坛的这些果实。
So Nārada Muni told Vyasadeva to write this Srimad Bhagavatam for the benefit of all people in the human society because they're all ignorant.
Nārada Muni 训示维亚斯 deva 写下圣典博迦瓦坛，以给予所有的这些人，因为所有的人都太愚昧了。
Nārada Muni says the miseries of the people can be removed just simply by devotional service.
Sorry, Gurudev, is said by Nārada Muni or Vyasadeva?
Srimad Bhagavatam, it's said by Srimad Bhagavatam.
OK， 圣典博迦瓦坛中提到，这些生物的痛苦可以通过奉献服务能够得到缓解，
Yeah.
可以被去除。
In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Nārada Muni is instructing Vyasadeva.
在圣典博迦瓦坛 ，Nārada Muni 训示着维亚萨 deva。
And Nārada Muni is telling Vyasadeva that the miseries of the living entity, the miseries of the people in the material world can be ended by devotional service.
Nārada Muni 训示着维亚萨 deva， 提到生物的物质的痛苦可以通过与奉献服务的连接，能够得到直接的去除和缓解。
But people don't know this.
但是人们并不知道这一点。
So that's why Nārada Muni wanted Vyasadeva to write the Srimad Bhagavatam.
这就是为什么 Nārada Muni 训示维亚斯 deva 写下圣典博迦瓦坛。
People are suffering because of ignorance.
人们是因为他们的愚昧而受苦。
They're following the wrong path. They're looking for happiness, but they're only getting suffering. They're on the wrong path.
他们虽然在追求的快乐，但是他们遵循着一条错误的道路。
And their material activities will not make them happy.
物质的活动不会让他们快乐。
So Nārada Muni told Vyasadeva to write Srimad Bhagavatam.
所以 Nārada Muni 训示维亚斯 deva 编纂为圣典博迦瓦坛。
And Vyasadeva followed Nārada Muni. He did this.
所以维亚斯 deva 追随 Nārada Muni 的教导，他也做到了这一点。
So Srimad Bhagavatam is the supreme instruction of the Vedas.
所以圣典博迦瓦坛是韦达经的至尊的训喻。
Yeah, Srimad Bhagavatam is the fruit, the ripened fruit of the Vedas.
而且是韦达经，圣典博迦瓦坛是韦达经成熟的果实。
So Nārada Muni is preaching to these 1,000 brothers, the Shavalasvas, and he tells them that a brother will follow the footsteps of the older brother. Younger brother should follow the footsteps of the older brother.
Nārada Muni 给这1000个儿子说，一个能够觉悟到宗教原则的弟兄会追随他们兄长的步伐。
And when they follow, when they're pious, then they follow, then they'll get the opportunity to associate with demigods.
如果他们能够追随兄长的步伐，他们能够有机会，能够和半神人们一起联谊。
They can associate with demigods like the Maruts, who were very affectionate to their brothers.
他们能够和 Maruts 得到半神人 Maruts 的联谊。Maru 非常钟爱自己的兄长。
Yeah, Maruts are demigods in the higher planets.
Maruts 是半神人天堂星宿的一位半神人。
So Nārada Muni is telling them that if you follow your older brothers, you can also go to heaven. You can associate with these demigods.
Nārada Muni 告诉这1000个儿子说，如果你们能够追随你们兄长的步伐，你们能够去到天堂星宿，能够和半神们在一起。
No, people get promoted to different planets according to their activities.
人们根据他们的活动去到不同的星球。
So Nārada Muni was saying the younger brothers should follow the older brothers, and that way they'll also go to heaven.
Nārada Muni 告诉这些儿子们说，如果 年轻的弟弟追随兄长们的步伐，他们甚至能够去到天堂星球。
Actually, they won't just go to heaven, they'll be able to go to the spiritual world.
事实上，他们不仅能够去到天堂，他们甚至能够回到灵性世界。
Their older brothers, they didn't just go to heaven, they went back to Godhead.
因为他们的兄长们没有去到天堂星球，他们都回归了守神。
So after Nārada Muni had said like this to these 1,000 brothers, the sons of Dakṣa, then they took Nārada Muni's instruction, they followed it.
当Nārada Muni给这1000个儿子说了这些训谕之后，这1000个儿子他们追随了Nārada Muni的训谕。
And they decided there's no need to produce children. They just wanted to be Krishna conscious. They didn't want to become fathers of children. They just wanted to be Krishna conscious devotees.
于是他们就决定，没有必要再去繁衍后代，没有必要去成为一个孩子的父亲，只是成为一个奉献者，从事 Krishna 之觉。
So the Shavalasvas, they took the right path. They took the correct path.
所以萨巴拉什他们追随了正确的途径。
And they were able to get devotional service. And they got the mercy of the Supreme Lord Krishna.
他们能够获得奉献服务，然后能够得到主 Krishna 至尊人格守神的仁慈。
So they never returned. They never came back home to their family to see their father. They'd gone back to Godhead.
所以他们再也没有回到家，再也没有回到他父亲那里，他们都回归守神。
But they didn't return even now. They've never come back.
即便到现在，他们都没有返回。
So at this time, then Dakṣa saw, he could see there were many inauspicious signs.
这个时候 ，Dakṣa 察觉到很多不吉祥的征兆。
And then he got information from different places. He heard also that the second group of sons, the Shavalasvas, had followed their elder brothers.
这个时候，他也得到了一些消息，他知道他的第二批孩子萨巴拉什瓦，他们追随了Nārada Muni的训谕。
Yeah, Dakṣa heard that these younger sons, they got instructions from Nārada Muni.
他知道他的这些年轻的儿子们追随了Nārada Muni的训谕。
So in this way, Dakṣa was very angry at Nārada Muni.
就这样 ，Dakṣa 对Nārada Muni非常的生气。
And Dakṣa almost fainted. He was so sorry. He was so upset. He almost fainted.
Dakṣa 非常的悲伤，他几乎昏过去了。
And then his lips were trembling in anger.
他的嘴唇在颤抖，他也愤怒道。
And it was at this time Nārada Muni came to see him.
这个时候，Nārada Muni 来见他。
So Nārada Muni had delivered the family. Nārada Muni, he was the guru of the family of Swayambhuva Manu.
Nārada Muni 实际上是Swayambhuva Manu 整个家族的灵性导师。
And he had delivered the sons of Swayambhuva Manu, Priyavrata and Uttanapada.
他拯救了 Prajāpati Dakṣa。
And Uttanapada, he had a son, Dhruva. He was also a disciple of Nārada Muni. Nārada Muni delivered him.
他还拯救了 Uttanapada 的儿子 Dhruva Maharaj。Dhruva Maharaj 也是Nārada Muni 的门徒。Nārada Muni 拯救了 Dhruva Maharaj。
And Nārada Muni also delivered Prajāpati.
Nārada Muni 还拯救了 Prajāpati。
Prajāpati, he was doing a lot of karmakandi activities.
Prajāpati 他从事了很多功利性的活动。
But Nārada Muni changed him and made him a devotee.
但是 Nārada Muni 改变了他，让他成了一个奉献者。
But Nārada Muni had never been able to deliver Prajāpati Dakṣa.
但是 Nārada Muni 没能够拯救 Prajāpati Dakṣa。
So when Daksha saw Nārada Muni coming before him, Nārada Muni, he had come to see Daksha, he was thinking he wanted to make Daksha a devotee.
Nārada Muni 这个时候来见 Dakṣa，他实际上是想在这个时候把 Dakṣa 变成一个奉献者。
Because Nārada Muni thought that now Daksha is really sad, he's lost all of his sons, so when people are in distress, it's a good time for them to become devotees. They're good, they can take up bhakti yoga.
因为 Nārada Muni 知道 Prajāpati Dakṣa 这个时候失去了自己的孩子，变得非常悲伤。当人处于极度的痛苦的时候，这是接触 bhakti yoga 风爱瑜伽的一个好的机会。
Right. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that there are 4 kinds of pious people who surrender to Krishna, and one is the people who are in distress.
主 Krishna 在《般若经》中说，有4类虔诚的人会接近 Krishna， 其中第一类就是指那些很痛苦的人。
So Nārada Muni knew that Daksha was in great distress because he'd lost all of his sons. So Nārada Muni thought, now I can make him a devotee.
Nārada Muni 知道 Prajāpati Dakṣa 这个时候失去了自己的儿子，变得非常非常的悲伤。这个时候，他其实是一种机会，能够成为奉献者的机会。
So Nārada Muni has come. He wants to tell him about how to get liberation from the material world.
Nārada Muni 想借此告诉 Dakṣa 如何从物质的束缚之中得到解脱。
So we'll hear what happens when Nārada Muni meets with Prajāpati Dakṣa in the next class.
所以下一节课我们就会讲 Nārada Muni 他将会如何给 Prajāpati Dakṣa 教导。
Okay, so we'll stop here today and ask if there's any questions.
Okay. First question from Rajendra Prabhu. 顶拜亲爱的 Maharaji， 顶拜亲爱的 Prabhu。Krishna 被称为 Purusha 或 Adi Purusha， 个体灵魂被称为 Prakriti， 但有时个体灵魂也被称为 Purusha。既是 Prakriti 也是 Purusha， 是否有矛盾？在什么样的情况下个体灵魂是 Purusha？ First question from Rajendra, obeisance to Maharaj. Krishna sometimes is called Purusha or Adi Purusha. Living entity also is called Prakriti, but sometimes we call the living entity also Purusha. So why is Purusha and Prakriti? It seems that have some contradiction. So in which condition the living entity can be called Purusha?
Well, a living entity is trying to be the Purusha, but actually he's not. Krishna is the real Purusha.
就是个体灵魂是想成为 Purusha， 但是呢，实际上只有 Krishna 是 Purusha。
Purusha means the enjoyer, and Prakriti means what's enjoyed.
Purusha 是享受者 ，Prakriti 是被享受。
So Purusha means the male, and the Prakriti means female.
Purusha 是男性 ，Prakriti 是阴性。
We are like female in relation to Krishna. Krishna is the real male. He's the real Purusha, and we're meant to be enjoyed by Krishna.
我们实际上相对于 Krishna 而言，我们是阴性。我们是 Krishna 做 Krishna 是男性，我们是 Krishna 的享受者。
Yeah. So we're trying to be the Purusha. That's the problem. We're not really the Purusha, but we try to be the Purusha.
我们是想成为 Purusha， 这是一个问题。但是 Krishna 是 Purusha。
because we're in illusion. We're thinking this world is for our enjoyment. We're thinking we're the Purusha.
因为我们是处在愚昧的状况之中，我们认为我们是菩萨，我们认为我们是享受者。
Actually, Krishna is the real Purusha.
事实上，只有 Krishna 是菩萨。Then he asked, Arjuna 在灵性世界有他的永恒的身份吗？只是听说他是 Krishna 在物质世界永恒的同有。Is that Arjuna have the spiritual internal identification in the spiritual world? Because we just heard Arjuna is the Krishna's associate in the material world.
That's right. We don't hear Arjuna going back to Godhead. Arjuna stays in the material world because Krishna has to speak Bhagavad Gita. So wherever Krishna goes, Arjuna goes with him. Krishna will speak Bhagavad Gita to him.
这是对的，我们从来没有听说 Arjuna 回归守神，他在物质世界里面待着，当 Krishna 有需要讲述国家梵歌的时候，他就跟 Krishna 在一起。So Arjuna don't have the internal identification in the spiritual world.
Well, sometimes we say Nara and Narayan. That Krishna and Arjuna are Nara and Narayan. Krishna is Narayan and Arjuna is Nara.
有些时候我们说 Krishna 和 Arjuna 是 Nara Narayana 是指的 Krishna，Arjuna 是指的 Nara。
So Krishna and Arjuna are Nara and Narayan.
所以 Krishna 和 Arjuna 他们合在一起是 Nara Narayana。
Yeah?
Okay, next question from Sati Mataji. Hare Krishna, 亲爱的，请问有没有哪Hare Krishna. Next question from Yogita Sharma.
What happened to Sati's question?
She asked someone to record this lecture because she said some problem with his computer. Okay. Next question from Yogita Sharma. Hare Krishna Gurudev. Please accept my humble obeisance. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. I have two questions. First, all the Indians say the simple Om represents the Lord Shiva, where in ISKCON say it is a sound form of the Lord, as the Lord said in the Bhagavad Gita. Gurudev, what is the reason for relating Om to Lord Shiva? I have asked the elders, and I'm told their elders have guided them in this way. They never question their elders like we do today. Gurudev, please enlighten them on this.
Oh, I've never heard before. I didn't know this, that they say Om is Lord Shiva.
Okay. Sorry, Gurudev. Let me translate. 这个问题是来自 Yogita Sharma， 他的问题是我们听说这个 Om 它在代表着主西吧，在我们这个 Krishna 知觉运动中，我们并没有这么说，请解释一下，就是说为什么这个 Om 代表着主西吧？
Yeah, because the problem is people are all impersonalists. They're influenced by impersonalism, and they think, ultimately Lord Shiva is God and Lord Shiva is light. They think Shiva is simply light. So they think ultimately God has no form.
通常情况下，人们都是非人格主义者，所以他们认为这个神没有形象，也没有特征，是没有一个形体的，而且他们认为西瓦就是这个代表，就是这么一个没有形象。
Anyway, if they worship Lord Shiva, if they worship if they're chanting Om, gradually they can get purified.
但是不管怎么样，如果他们唱诵 Om 的话，他们也能够得到一些净化。
Then they will come to, one day they will come to chant Hare Krishna.
有一天他们会来到唱诵 Hare Krishna 的层面上。
The problem is most people who chant Om, they think God has no form. They think ultimately God is impersonal.
但是大多数的情况下，人们唱诵 Om， 他们认为这个主他是非人格的，没有形象的。
So people have to go further than just simply chanting Om. They should understand God is not just simply energy.
因此，人们应该再往前进一步，而不要只是认为神它只是一种能量，他们应该再往前进一步。
That we are all persons. Why do they think God is not a person?
我们既然都是人体的这个人类，为什么神他不能成为一个人呢？
Okay.
The second question she asked, Lord Vishnu, Narayana, these forms of the Lord have a lot of devotees. Why don't they know of Lord Krishna or worship him instead of his expansions? 就是主 Vishnu Narayana 这些形象的这些主都有很多的奉献者，为什么他们不知道主 Krishna， 或者说他们不知道主 Krishna， 或者崇拜他，来代替崇拜这些形象呢？
No, they do. The people who worship Vishnu and Narayan, generally they think of Krishna as being one of the avatars of Vishnu.
回答是，他们确实有崇拜主 Krishna， 而且他们通常情况下认为主 Krishna 是主 Vishnu 或 Narayana 的一个化身。
So that's the problem. They're thinking that Vishnu is the supreme and that Krishna is the expansion or the incarnation of Vishnu.
所以这也是他们的问题，因为他们认为主 Krishna 是主 Vishnu 或 Narayana 的一个化身。
I looked up the word Krishna in an English dictionary one time, and it was listed in the English dictionary that Krishna is the 8th incarnation of Vishnu.
我有一次看英文的词典，主 Krishna 的这个意思，主 Krishna 这个意思，它是主 Vishnu 的第8个化身。
So people don't understand how Lord Krishna is the original personality of Godhead and Vishnu comes from him.
所以人们通常情况下，他们并不理解，实际上主 Krishna 是真正的至尊人格守成，而 Vishnu 是来自于主 Krishna。
So Lord Chaitanya discussed this when he was in Sri Rangam. He discussed this with the Sri Vaishnavas. The Sri Vaishnavas, they worship Narayan.
所以当主 Chaitanya 在 Sri Ranga 的时候，他和这些 Sri Vaishnava、Sri 的这个传系的这些奉献者们和他们进行了这个讨论。
So that's recorded in the Chaitanya Charitamrita.
这个在永恒的 Chaitanya 经中有记录。
In the Madhya Lila, I think it's chapter 9.
中篇的第9篇，中篇的第9章。
So Lord Chaitanya would simply say, that why Lakshmi also wanted to dance Rasa Lila.
所以主 Chaitanya 就举了一个很简单的一个事情，就说为什么 Lakshmi 想要加入到 Rasa Lila 的逍遥时光之中呢？
And they will say, because Krishna is also Vishnu. That's why Lakshmi also wants to dance Rasa Lila.
他们回答是，他说主 Krishna 也是主 Vishnu， 也是主 Vishnu， 所以Lakshmi 也想加入到主 Krishna 的 Rasa Lila 之中。
But then Lord Chaitanya said, yes, but why did Lakshmi not get into? Why was she not able to join Rasa Lila?
所以主 Chaitanya 又反问到他们，那为什么 Lakshmi 又没能进入到 Rasa Lila 之中呢？
Although she did austerities in Vrindavan to try to become a gopi, she couldn't do it.
即便他在文达文做了一些苦行，他想变成一个 gopi， 但是他没能做到。
Because she's not as qualified as the gopis.
因为他不够资格成为一个 gopi， 一个木柳姑娘。
So these are confidential things, not everybody can appreciate.
所以这是很机密的事情，并不是所有人他都能欣赏到这一点。
But anyway, even if they worship Vishnu or Narayan, they're Vaishnavas. They also agree that they're the servant of the Supreme Lord.
但不管怎么样，如果他们崇拜主 Vishnu 或 Narayan 的话，他们也是 Vaishnava 奉献者，他们也是至尊人格守神的奉献者仆人。
So that's good. We agree with that.
这也是一个好事情，我们赞同他们。
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, next question from Shama. Hare Krishna, 顶拜 Guru Maharaj， 顶拜奉献者。请问 Guru， 有的灵魂，比如 Arjuna 是永恒的同游，有的凭借愿望成为了同游，是不是可以理解成灵魂通过努力可以改变自己原本的身份呢？ This is the first question. Hare Krishna faces to Guru Maharaj. I want to ask a Guru. Some soul, like the Arjuna, is the internal associate, and some other soul use his desire become associate. So can I understand the soul can through his effort can change his original identification?
Yes?
是的，灵魂可以通过努力改变自己原本的身份。
But we will not be satisfied until we come to our actual eternal position.
We cannot satisfy.
We will not be, we will not be comfortable in some other position, which is not meant to be our position. We have to be in our actual constitutional position.
我们是可以通过我们的努力改变这些身份，但是我们在别的这个身份中的时候，如果不是我们原本的这个身份，我们会感觉到不适应、不舒服。
When we find our actual position, then we'll feel comfortable. We'll know this is right. This is my position. I'm meant to be like this.
当我们回到我们自己原本的那个身份的时候，我们会感觉到舒适，我们会感到说，哦，这是对的。
We'll feel this is what is the right position for me. I'm suited for this kind of position.
这个时候我们会觉得这就是我恰当的，我原本的这个身份，我非常适合这个身份。
So everybody has their own individual nature.
所以每一个人都有他独自的本性。
We have to get our right nature, come to our right nature.
我们应该回到我们自己原本的本性之中。
Then we're happy.
那样我们就会快乐。
So you can change from one position to another. You will not be comfortable.
你可以从一个身份改变到另外一个身份，但是不会舒适。
And you can read like that in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. We read about Gopkumar, how he traveled many places.
我们也可以在这个 Brihad Bhagavatam 中，就是大佛教法坛甘露之阳中看到 Gopakumar 他也是这么经历了这个过程。
And he was traveling all through the spiritual world, different places, different positions.
他在灵性世界旅行，然后有不同的位置。
And when finally he came to a position where he was actually happy.
当他回到他原本的位置的时候，他变得开心起来。OK。经典中说Nārada Muni是女仆的儿子，有时候又说他是 Brahma 的儿子，但又没有说他是直接由 Brahma 创造的吗？该如何理解他的身份呢？ In the Shastra said the Nārada Muni is a female servant son, the son of the female servant. So sometimes also said the Nārada Muni is the son of the Brahma. But we didn't heard about the Nārada Muni is directly created by the Lord Brahma. So how can I understand the identification of the Nārada Muni?
Well, in previous life, we heard in previous life he was the son of a maidservant.
在先前的仪式中，Nārada Muni是这个女仆的儿子。
Right? And before that, before becoming the son of a maidservant, before that he was a Gandharva, right? He was a Gandharva, and he was very good looking, and he was singing very beautifully, but he was associating with a lot of women and joking with them, and he got cursed by the Prajapatis to take birth as the son of a maidservant.
在这个成为女仆儿子的再潜意识的这个身份，他是一个甘达尔巴，然后他看起来很好看，然后但是由于他当时和很多女子在一起，得到一个之后就被一个人诅咒之后，他就成为一个女仆的儿子。
So then, after the son of the maidservant, then the next life he became the son of Brahma.
在成为女仆的儿子之后，他在下一世他成为了主 Brahma 的儿子。
And when Brahma gives birth, it's not like it's a normal birth. It's not like he has to conceive children in the womb of his wife, but they're born from the mind of Brahma.
当主 Brahma 诞生 Nārada Muni 的时候，主 Brahma 并不是说找了一个女性，然后繁衍出 Nārada Muni， 而是 Nārada Muni 是由主 Brahma 的心意诞生出来。
So this is described in Srimad Bhagavatam. You read Srimad Bhagavatam?
这个是由圣典博伽瓦坛所描述的。
Yes.
Okay. Next question from Radha Tianping. I think in Chandra will not say it. 顶拜 Guru， 顶拜翻译，请教 Guru。我今天看到瓦坛10-78-17节时说到，主 Balaram 听说库鲁族人准备要与 Pandava 兄弟开战，由于他保持中立，故云游圣地。为什么主 Balaram 非常钟爱独优丹呢？Obeisance to Guru.I want to ask, today I read the Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 10. It is said, the Lord Balaram, when he heard the Kurus will have fight with Pandavas, then the Balaram not join to either one, so he traveled to the holy place. I want to ask why the Balaram, why he loves Duryodhana?
Because Duryodhana was his student. He trained Duryodhana in fighting with the club.
因为Duryodhana是他的学生，他训练主 Balaram 训练Duryodhana用这个大头棒作战。
And so Duryodhana, he had this ability. He was very clever in getting people's affection.
Duryodhana 也非常聪明，擅长于让别人对他产生一种好的印象。
So he made a very nice relationship with Lord Balaram.
所以他和主 Balaram 之间有很好的关系。
And so when it came to the battle of Kurukshetra, Lord Balaram didn't want to get involved.
所以当Balaram 看到这个 Kurukshetra 战场这个发生的时候，他并不想参战，他并不想涉入其中。
And we see Lord Krishna also didn't fight. Lord Krishna said also, I'm not going to fight.
主 Krishna 他说他也不想作战。
Krishna said, he said, one side can have my army, other side I'll be a chariot driver.
主 Krishna 就说有一方可以拥有我的军队，另一方我可以，我就给你当这个驾马车的马车夫。
So Lord Krishna, he also didn't take part in the battle of Kurukshetra.
所以主 Krishna 并没有参战。
So Lord Balaram, but sometimes Lord Balaram, like one time, the son of Lord Krishna, was it Shamba? Shamba had gone off, and he'd kidnapped the daughter of Duryodhana. He wanted to marry her, take her for his wife, and so he'd gone there, and he'd kidnapped the daughter of Duryodhana. So he got arrested. There was a big fight, and he got arrested, and he got kept in the prison. And then Nārada Muni, he went to Dwarka and told everyone. So Lord Krishna was going to come with the army and fight, but Balaram said, no, I will go and I will arrange everything. So Lord Balaram went there, and at first Duryodhana, he didn't want to release, but then Balaram got a little angry, and he took his plough and he broke the ground, and he was going to drag the whole of Hastinapur into the Yamuna. So then immediately Duryodhana said, oh no, it's okay, wait, I'm coming, just now I'll bring your daughter, I'll bring Samba and I'll bring my daughter and you can take them.
OK， 这个桑巴有一个叫桑巴的，他把独优丹的这个女儿给绑架了，他想和独优丹女儿成婚，但是呢，他去绑架她之后，但是又被独优丹给抓到牢里去了，所以 Krishna 想设法去把桑巴给救出来，但是巴拉 Ram 说不必，我自己一个人去想把这个事情就给解决了。主巴拉 Ram 去到独优丹那里去之后，就是希望独优丹能够把桑巴给放了，但是独优丹开始并没有答应，于是巴拉 Ram 拿起他的这个泥，他差点把哈斯提纳布尔，就是可能就是沉到这个雅穆纳河中去了。所以独优丹见到此情况非常的害怕，他说不，我现在就把桑巴给放了，然后把我的女儿也放出来。
So Lord Balarama brought back Krishna's son Samba along with his wife, who was the daughter of Duryodhana, and they gave a big dowry also. So Balarama did all this just on his own. He saved the whole battle. Balaram he went there and dealt with Duryodhana.
所以巴拉 Ram 独自一个人就从独优丹那里把桑巴以及他的妻子给带了出来，这个妻子就是独优丹的女儿，他一个人就拯救了这场战，就是避免了这场战争的发生。因为主 Krishna 当时想派人过去和独优丹作战，但是巴拉 Ram 一个人就把这个情况给免除了。
And Balarama, of course, Balarama's sister is Subhadra. They're both children of Vasudeva and Rohini. So Subhadra is very beautiful, and Balarama arranged her marriage. He wanted to get her married to Duryodhana. But Lord Krishna, he wanted Subhadra to marry Arjuna. And Arjuna he liked Subhadra, he wanted to marry Subhadra.
还有这个巴拉 Ram 的妹妹 Subhadra， 她本来是想把这个 Subhadra 嫁给这个独优丹，但是主 Krishna 他并不希望 Subhadra 嫁给独优丹，他希望这个 Subhadra 跟 Arjuna 结婚。
Arjuna he really liked Subhadra. So Lord Krishna told Arjuna to disguise himself as a sannyasi. And so Arjuna disguised himself like a sannyasi, and he was staying outside at Dwarka. And so one day, he got the opportunity to come into the palace, and he was able to kidnap Subhadra, and he ran away with her. So when Balaram found out, he was very angry, and he wanted to kill Arjuna.
Arjuna 也非常喜欢 Subhadra， 所以主 Krishna 告诉 Arjuna， 你假扮成一个 sannyasi， 在这个 Dwarka 城外等着，这样这个Arjuna 就有机会就混到了这个城里面去，然后在由于一种特殊的安排，他最后把这个 Subhadra 给就是属于绑架就带走了，抢走了。当 Balaram 听到这个事情的时候，他对 Arjuna 非常的生气。
But Lord Krishna pacified him. Because it was Lord Krishna's desire, Balaram had to accept it.
但是主 Krishna 帮Balaram 消解了这个，因为这是主 Krishna 的愿望，所以 Balaram 接受了这个情况。
So sometimes, Balaram is a little different from Lord Krishna. They have their different friends.
有些时候 Balaram 和主 Krishna 有一点点区别，他们有他们自己的朋友。
Just like Krishna was married to Rukmini, and Rukmini had a brother called Rukmi, and Rukmi was a really quite a bad person, and so he arranged for a gambling match with Balaram, and they were having a gambling match together, and Rukmi kept cheating Balaram. And so finally Lord Balaram just killed him. So when Balaram killed Rukmi, then Krishna couldn't say anything to him because Balaram had killed the brother of Krishna's wife. So Krishna's wife Rukmini was sorry because her brother had been killed, but Krishna couldn't say anything to Balaram because Balaram's his older brother. And it's a difficult situation. So Rukmini just had to, she saw her brother killed by Balaram, and Krishna couldn't really say much to Rukmini, and he couldn't say anything to Balaram. If he said something to Rukmini, it wouldn't be pleasing to Balaram, and if he said something to Balaram, it wouldn't be pleasing to Rukmini.
Okay. Krishna 的妻子 Rukmini 有一个哥哥叫 Rukmi 当时和 Balaram 在一场赌博之中欺骗了主 Balaram， 所以主 Balaram 一气之下就把 Rukmini 的哥哥给杀死了， Rukmi 给杀死了。这个时候的主 Krishna 非常的但是当主 Balaram 杀死了 Rukmi 之后，杀死了 Rukmini 的哥哥之后，主 Krishna 这个时候也比较尴尬，他这个时候又没有说任何一句话，因为他如果去安抚 Rukmini 的话，这个时候对他的哥哥 Balaram 不太好。如果他要去安抚这个 Balaram 的话，这个时候又对 Rukmini 不太好，所以这个时候的这个情况比较不一般，比较难。
These are all different rasas in family life. There's, in family life there's always these different dealings. It's hard to please everyone.
所以这是家庭生活之中的各种不同的关系的交流，在家庭生活之中很难取悦到所有的人。
Okay, some other question.
Yes, next question from Hanivamsa Prabhu. 顶拜 Guru， 为什么物质世界的普通人会把罪恶活动，比如看电影、去餐馆吃饭、购物、喝酒等活动，当作正常的活动，不认为这是罪恶的，还认为很开心、很快乐？这是因为玛雅的力量吗？ This is his first question. Obeisance to Guru. Why the material people think they think the simple activities like the watch movie and go to the restaurant eating and shopping, drink the wine and any other activity. They think these simple activities as the normal activities. They don't recognize these things are sinful, and they also think this is happiness. So is this the cause of the Maya's power?
Yeah, very much. This is all the cause of Maya, the illusion. Material energy, very powerful.
这些都是玛雅的力量，因为愚昧的力量非常的有力量。
The whole world is under the power of Maya.
整个世界都是在玛雅的力量之下，影响之下。
So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Manushyanam sahasresu kaschinyatati siddhaye, that only one man among thousands is even thinking about perfection.
所以主 Krishna 在《薄伽梵歌》中说，千百万中之中有一个人想要去证达完美。
And of those who've achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth.
而在这个想要证达完美人的人之中，很难有一个人了解我是绝对的真理。
So the power of the illusory energy, material energy, keeps people in this world.
所以玛雅的愚昧力量能够让所有的人待在这个物质世界。
And we're thinking, people are still thinking that although they see everybody dying and going to Yamaraj, but still they're trying to enjoy.
人们虽然看到所有人都死去了，然后都去到 Yamaraja 了，即便他们知道他们去阎罗王那里去了，他们还会去继续享受。
So in Mahabharata it's described like that. What is the most wonderful thing in the world? And Maharaj Yudhisthira said, the most wonderful thing is that although we see everybody's dead, we're thinking, I will not die.
就像马哈巴尔特里面所那个给尤迪什蒂尔王提出的这个问题，世界上最惊奇的事情是什么呢？惊奇的事情，尤迪什蒂尔马哈拉就回答到，世界上最惊奇的事情是，即便所有人都在死，都死去，他还不认为自己会死。
So they say there's one temple which everyone will go to. One temple, that temple is the temple of Yamaraj at the time of death. Everybody has to go there.
所以有一座庙宇是每个人都要去的，那个庙宇就是 Yamaraja 的庙宇。每一个人死了之后，他都会去到阎罗王的庙宇里面去。
Yes.
Then he asked 顶拜 Guru， 我们在灵性世界的原本身份与我们在物质世界的本性一致吗？Basis to Guru, our spiritual original identification are the same with the nature of the nature when we in the material world.
No.
不一致。
Material world, it's nothing to do with
the nature in the material world.
Well, in the material world, we see there's male and female, there's animals, there's plants and trees, there's all different species of life. It's all there in the spiritual world as well, the same.
在物质世界有各种各样的动物、植物、鸟等等。这些不同的生物种类，在灵性世界也是存在的。
Just like we know there's different relationships in the material world. There's servants, there's parents, there's friends, there's lovers.
我们在物质世界之中有各种不同的关系，有仆人的关系，有兄弟的关系，有爱侣的关系，有父母之间的这种关系。
So the same is there in the spiritual world.
这些关系在灵性世界也是存在。
Here in the material world, it's a perverted reflection.
而在物质世界的这个关系是灵性世界的一个倒影。
All our relationships are based on the body.
我们在物质世界的这个关系是基于躯体。
But the spiritual world, it's all pure spiritual, based on the soul.
灵性世界的关系是基于灵魂。
Yes?
Finish. No question.
No more questions?
Yes, no question.
Okay.
Okay.
So, 我们感谢苏布的来给我们全体的翻译，我们感谢所有的奉献是聆听。Oh, wait. 我有一些问题要回答。
好的。
A devotee asked me about time. They said, is time, time doesn't exist in the spiritual world, but we hear that time is eternal. So how is it eternal?
有奉献者问 Guru 就说，我们说在灵性世界是没有时间的，但是我们又如何理解这个时间它是永恒的呢？
So we have to understand time is described as Kala Chakra, the wheel of time. It's like a wheel. There's no beginning and no end to a wheel. It's just going round. It's just endless.
我们听到时间是这个时间之轮，意思是它没有开始也没有结束。这个轮子，这个飞碟，它是没有开始和结束的，它是个圆形的。
And in the spiritual world, we say there's no time. There's no time in the effect of time as we know it in the material world, because time in the material world is destructive.
我们所听到的在灵性世界没有这个时间的意思是，它没有像物质世界的这种时间的情况，因为物质世界的这个时间的情况，它其实是在毁灭的这个概念的。但是灵性世界它对时间是有印象的，有一定的印象。
Yeah. So there's the impression of time because Krishna enjoys the lila. He has to enjoy his lila, just like lila. Every morning go out with the cows, every evening come back with the cows.
通过这个时间，主 Krishna 在享受着他的逍遥时光。比如说早上的时候，他要去放牛，他要去喂牛。
And he feels also separation from the gopis. The gopis can feel separation when Krishna goes out every day.
而且当主 Krishna 出去的时候，这些牧牛姑娘们也感觉到和 Krishna 的分离之情。
And then also at night, Krishna has to enjoy Rasa Lila.
然后主 Krishna 在晚上的时候也会享受这种 Rasa Lila。
So there's the impressions of time, although there's no time in the destructive sense in the spiritual world.
虽然在灵性世界没有这种时间的毁灭的存在，但是在灵性世界，时间的这种印象还在。
So the wheel of time, it never stops rolling.
The wheel of the time never stops.
It keeps moving, keeps rolling.
Okay.
Time never stops.
时间之轮一直前进着，没有停止。
So then, another question which was asked is in relation to Kaliya, the goddess of Kaliya, the snake who came into the waters of the Yamuna. How he was poisoning the waters of the Yamuna, and then his wives came and offered prayers to Krishna.
第二个问题是关于卡利亚蛇，它是从雅穆纳河中出来，然后他的主 Krishna 和他进行了一场战斗，然后他的妻子向主 Krishna 供奉祷文。
So the wives of Kaliya, they're called Nagapatnis, means the wives of the snake. And they offered beautiful prayers to Krishna.
他的妻子们被称为 Nagapani， 就是蛇的妻子。他们向主 Krishna 供奉了很美妙的祷文。
And one of their prayers, they prayed to Krishna that you are the cause of all of our desires.
他们其中的祷文之中有这么一句话说：“你是我们所有愿望的起因。”
So devotee was asking me, when we have so many bad desires coming in our mind, how could it be all due to Krishna?
所以有奉献者就问我们，如果我们内心有很多很不好的愿望的话，那么这些愿望怎么又归结到是 Krishna 那里去了呢？
So this is like a question which was asked by one pilot. When Prabhupada was traveling in an airplane one time, the pilot came and talked to Prabhupada. And he was very intelligent, Prabhupada said, and he asked nice questions.
这个问题同样也是被一个飞行员还是同样也问到圣帕帕的当圣帕帕的在一次旅行的时候，在空中旅行的时候，有一个飞行员就过来问了圣帕帕，圣帕帕的说他非常有智慧。
And one of the questions the pilot wanted to know, he said, since God is all good, he said, where does evil come from?
他既然说神是全部都是好的，那些罪恶又是从哪里来的呢？
So Prabhupada explained, he said, evil comes from the backside of Krishna. He said from the front is all good, but from the backside the evil comes. So when you go to the back, when you're at the back of Krishna, that's where the evil comes.
圣帕帕的就回答到，主 Krishna 的一面是全部的这个好的，但是主 Krishna 的背面就是这个恶魔的东西都在那边。
Just like we can go out into the light and be in the sunlight, or we can stay in the darkness if we want. We stay inside the room and close the doors and curtains and keep all the light out and make the room dark.
就像我们可以在阳光底下，我们也可以在阴明里面，甚至在房间里面把自己关起来，把窗帘门全部都关起来，让自己处在黑暗之中。
So we get choice. We're given free will. We can choose to be in the light or in the dark.
我们是被授予了这种选择权利，我们可以选择自己在光明之中，也可以选择在黑暗之中。
In the same way, we can desire good or we can desire evil.
我们可以选择好，我们也可以选择坏。
Krishna gives us that free will.
Krishna 给予我们这种自由意志。
And of course, we have to suffer. If we desire evil, we suffer. We get the reactions.
当然，我们也得为此而承受。如果我们选择了恶的话，我们得承受罪恶。
It's all our doing. You can't say it's Krishna's fault. It's our own choice. Krishna gives us free will.
Krishna 给予我们的这种自由意志，都是我们自由选择的，不是 Krishna 的问题。
But Krishna's like the overseer, and he's the permitter, right? As a super soul. The super soul is described in the Bhagavad Gita as Upadrasta and Anumanta, the overseer and the permitter of activities.
主 Krishna 在《薄伽梵歌》中说他是超灵，这个超灵他是监察者和准许者两种身份，他一方面是观察着你，另外一个方面是允许你做一些事情。
So one devotee had asked these questions. I took the opportunity to share them with you here today.
OK， 这是 Guru 分享了两个别人问给他的问题。Guru, here have some, I think 3 more questions. 2 from Harivamsa, 1 from Zhen.
Okay.
You want to answer now or next?
Yeah,
time?
let's hear Zhen. What does Zhen say?
OK， Zhen。Hare Krishna， 亲爱的 Guru Maharaj， 顶拜您甜美莲花组，顶拜翻译主持人和所有奉献者。做灵性活动的时候，就有 Krishna 知觉；去工作的时候和非奉献者接触，就容易把 Krishna 给忘记了。Krishna 知觉断断续续的，我不知道自己处于什么状态，应该怎么办 ？Hare Krishna bases to your sweet lotus fate. When I do some spiritual activities, I have Krishna consciousness. And when I go to work and association with non-devotees, I easily forget Krishna. My Krishna consciousness interrupt. Sometimes have, sometimes not have. I don't know what kind of condition I am. What can I do?
Well, you must continue to do your sadhana every morning. You have to chant Hare Krishna. You have to prepare yourself to go to work. You cannot give up work. You have to keep working, but you have to strengthen your mind. If you do good sadhana, hearing and chanting in the morning, then you can go to work and remember Krishna.
你得继续保持你的好的规范休息，早上起来念诵，在你去上班之前，你得准备好你自己去上班。在你上班之前，你做好你的 sadhana， 好好念诵，然后再去上班，这样你就能够有强壮的心意，能够去上班。
Yes.
你得好好工作，但是同时要有稳健的心意。
Okay.
Okay.
Now, Harivamsa's question.
Harivamsa question.
Yeah.
是不是也意味着，不要轻易打扰被玛雅强大力量迷惑的人，叫醒他们很危险，就像耶稣叫醒玛雅中的人，对方却把他钉在十字架上。If that means we should not awaken that people who are affected by Maya, because awaken them are very dangerous. Like Jesus, he wake the people who are in Maya, but the people they near the Jesus.
Well, it's a question of how much compassion you feel for them.
这个问题的核心在于你到底有多大的对于他们有多大的怜悯之心。
We have to consider, if we have some medicine, if we have something to help people, to benefit people, to improve their life, we should want to give it to them and try to help them.
如果我们有一些药能够帮助一些人、拯救一些人、给予他们一些帮助的话，我们会想着要去给予他们。
If you see somebody on the roof and they're flying their kite in the air and they're on the roof of the building and they're not watching where they're going and they could fall off the roof any time, and if you come up and grab them and save them from falling off the roof, then you're their greatest friend. They may not like it. They may say, why are you disturbing me? I'm flying my kite. But you're saving their life.
如果你看到有一些人在楼顶放风筝，然后他们在楼顶上放风筝，而且并没有注意到自己的危险处境的话，但是如果你去叫醒了他们，让他们意识到自己的这个情况的话，他们或许会把你认为当作他的朋友。
Well, they don't think you're their friend. They think you're disturbing me. Why are you disturbing me? I'm enjoying myself, flying my kite. Why are you giving me trouble?
他们在楼顶放风筝，他们甚至不会把你当朋友，他们会说你为什么要打扰我？我正在享受我在楼顶放风筝的这个感觉。
But you are actually doing them the greatest service.
但是事实上，你却为他们做了最大的这个贡献和服务。
But they may not be able to understand. They may not appreciate you.
他们或许不能够理解，也不能够欣赏你。
Okay.
Next is 我们在灵性世界的本性是仆人，是快乐，是不是意味着我们在这个物质世界当个仆人也是快乐满足的？从这个角度说，物质世界、灵性世界仆人本性是一致的吗？When we are in the spiritual world, our nature is servant, and that servant is the happiness. If that means when we in the material world, we do as a servant is also happiness and satisfied. So in this condition, it says that the spiritual servant and the material servant the both servant nature are the same.
Well, not always. It may be if you're in the consciousness that you're in the material world, but you're serving Krishna, or you're serving Krishna's devotees, so you may be happy.
对于你这个问题的回答就是不总是这样的。如果你在这个物质世界服务的是 Krishna 和 Krishna 的奉献者的话，这个仆人你是快乐的。
But we often see in material world somebody's a servant and they're planning to be the master. They're thinking, why I have to be the servant? I want to be the master.
我们还看到有一些人，他在这个物质世界，他表面上说我是仆人，但是实际上他是想要成为主人，而且想着是我为什么要成为一个仆人。
And somebody, material world, somebody's a servant. They don't like to work. They just want to get money. They want to be paid, but they don't want to work.
还有一些在这个物质世界当仆人的这些人，就是做服务的这些人，他们的状态是，他只想得到钱，但他并不想做服务，他只想被支付这个工资，但是他并不想去服务。
But in the spiritual world, a devotee, he just wants service, and he's not thinking about how much he will be paid.
然而，在灵性世界的这个仆人，就是他只想去服务，他并不在乎他自己会被支付多少的工资。
So there are some big differences between service in the material world and in the spiritual world.
所以在物质世界的仆人跟灵性世界的仆人是有一些区别的。Good day. One more question from Mao Mao. Do you want to answer?
Yeah.
Okay. 毛毛，敬爱的 Good day， 一直有个问题是 ，Krishna 为什么要创造我们呢？有时候觉得我们不被创造，不就不会有痛苦呢？可是没有痛苦的时候，就会把这个问题给忘了，是玛雅迷惑的缘故吗？My respective Good day, I have a question. Is why Krishna won't create us? Sometimes I think if Krishna not create us, then have no sufferings. But sometimes I think if no suffering, sometimes if I don't feel sufferings, I will forget this question. So it's all from the Maya's illusion.
And so Krishna created us for his enjoyment.
Krishna 创造我们是为了他自己的快乐。
Right. If we give pleasure to Krishna, when we give pleasure to Krishna, then we also enjoy.
当我们能够给 Krishna 带来快乐的时候，我们也能够快乐。
And just like in the material world, a father will have children, he'll want to conceive children because he enjoys having a child, bringing up a child.
就像在这个物质世界，这些父亲他创造孩子，他是想享受这个孩子，他觉得有孩子会很有乐趣。
So, if Krishna didn't create us, then you say we wouldn't suffer, but there'd be no enjoyment also.
Krishna 如果不创造我们，我们确实是没有痛苦，但是他也没有快乐。
Of course, Krishna is self-sufficient. He doesn't need us to enjoy. He's very happy on his own.
当然 ，Krishna 是全然自我满足的，他也不需要我们，他可以自己就完全自我满足和快乐。
But he's giving all of us a chance that you have to understand, we're not created, we're eternal. We're always existing, right?
我们还得理解，我们并不是我们是永恒存在的。
So our purpose is to give pleasure to Krishna.
我们的目标是给予 Krishna 快乐。
And if we give pleasure to Krishna, then we will find the greatest pleasure also in our life.
如果我们能够给予 Krishna 快乐的话，我们也能够在我们的生命之中找到快乐。
Alright, so we will stop here today. Woman, thank Subhadra, Woman Ganshia Subhadra Rai Prabhu, Gimam Fani, Ganshia Soy the functions of Lingting, Jufu Niman Chang Song Kwaila, Ju Yan Tuan Bahu, Baudong Shinti, Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada Ki.
Jai, Hare Krishna.
Go back to Vrinda Ki.
Jai, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.